Is it Cuba? Is it the Bahamas? Is it Puerto Rico? No, it is actually China? That's right, friends. Today we're going to talk about a neat little anomaly known as China's Caribbean island. But more specifically, we're actually going to just look at the city of Sanya. Hello and welcome to another episode focusing on one specific topic. If you're new to Nick Geo, welcome. My name is Nick, and I cover geographical topics ranging anywhere from breaking down entire US states to historical or cultural significance inside of a country, worldwide topics in a list format, and travel. So lately I've seen several vloggers go to this beautiful place, and this is kind of what made me want to talk about it. I'd like to dive a little bit into the history as well as the specific spots, and as usual we're going to start by locating it. Sanya is located on the southernmost point of the island of Hainan, which is also its own province in the People's Republic of China, a name that means south of the sea. The city's location is what gives it such a tropical climate and naturally brings in lots of tourists domestically and abroad. Thus, the majority of the year is composed of the wet season with a short dry spell that, nonetheless, has pretty warm weather year-round, falling on the same latitude as Hawaii. In fact, its hottest season is in June, usually staying at a steady 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and it only usually drops down to the early 70s in January for its coldest season. Looking at the bigger picture, Sanya is actually found within a small run of mountains found within the valley of the Wuji mountain range, and it has over 200 kilometers of coastline surrounded by the Sanya Bay. Therefore, despite its rugged topography, the proximity to the South China Sea gives it a pretty flat layout. Flowing through it is the Sanya River, which covers a large amount of the urban areas between the high-rises. The G98 highway runs through the city and connects it to the ones that cover the circumference, and Sanya is easy to get to from the main airport thanks to these highways. What if I told you it wasn't always a beachgoer hotspot? As far as Chinese history goes, the region that would become Sanya was known as Yazhou during the Qin dynasty, which, in fact, was where China got its name. For thousands of years, this would remain an isolated region often referred to as the end of the earth, where exiles who found themselves in dire straits with the ruling party would end up. But evidence of human inhabitation goes back even several thousand years before any Chinese presence, as ancient Persian graves were found along the coast, and human relics were found in the Luo Bai cave, which points to life during China's Stone Age. For most of China's history, it would remain nothing but a small fishing village alongside the place where exiles went throughout many of the major dynasties including the Han, Song, Tang, Ming, and Qing. After the Republican era took off in 1912, Yazhou was named to Yaxin. Finally, in the later 20th century, under Communist Party rule, Sanya would see itself as a proper city, considering that Hainan had recently become a province of its own, with its name changing to what we see today in 1987, and it wouldn't be long after that that tourism would begin its rapid boom. Thus, up would go a bunch of resorts and high-rises and tourist centers. This would be around the time when China thought, maybe a little bit of capitalism can't hurt, so we can get into some specifics. So first of all, the city's entire area can actually be broken down into 4 different districts. These are Yazhou, Tianya, Xi'an, and Haitang, all of which were established relatively recently. I guess it makes sense first to cover the beaches and bays, since that seems to be the biggest reason folks make their way to Sanya. Yalong Bay, also known as Asian Dragon Bay, is one of the ones furthest away from the metropolitan area of Sanya, giving it several kilometers of white sands against clear blue waters, complete with palm trees to top it all off. Many regard this as the best beach on the island of Hainan, and it's actually home to the Gloria Resort, the first ever 5-star resort in China. Because of its clear waters, it's also regarded as one of the best places for diving and snorkeling, giving a good look at all the unique coral reef life and fish that surround this. And don't worry about the presence of humans destroying the wildlife, because private fishing is forbidden and it is indeed a protected area. In the middle of the square sits the 27-meter tall totem pole with all sorts of engravings that represent Chinese 5,000 years of civilization. Now looking closer to the city proper is Dadong Hai Beach, resting between these two peninsulas, probably an equally sought after location. This word means Great East Sea and is open entirely to the public, unlike the resorts that dominate the Yalong Bay. It's about 2.5 kilometers long with a similar scenery of blue waters, white sands, and palm trees. Oh great, the things I'm talking about are already starting to become repetitive, aren't they? No, but this one is more ideal for beach sports and allows for a little more open access for diving and snorkeling. In fact, water sports and activities as a whole, including motor boating and yacht rides, are common here, and the main square that's close to this one is full of all sorts of seafood barbecues and, of course, bars. Before wrapping up the beaches and bays segment, we must quickly glance at the Sanya Bay. This one is the longest beach in Sanya, and it includes a tropical coconut forest with plenty of other tropical plants. I might even say that this is a little less touristy, as locals tend to frequent these grounds more, perhaps giving a more authentic Chinese experience, especially due to the night market. One that's a little more historically significant would be the Tianya Haizhou, with all of its rocks scattered throughout, and you can find Chinese characters that literally mean end of the earth. As you may recall, this is where ancient Chinese thought the end of the earth was located. I'm going to repeat their legend exactly as it is presented in China Tour Guide. Once upon a time, a young couple from two hostile clans fell in love and ran away. They ran and ran until they saw the endless sea and sky. They thought this was the end of the earth. It is right here at the end of the earth that they swore their love, forever faithful and never separated. Constantly pursued by troops from both clans, they were forced to jump into the vast sea. And given this legend, a lot of couples come here to this day to swear their love to each other. How romantic. For more local lore, the Arica Valley is located in the Ganja Ridge Natural Reserve, several kilometers long, covered in areca palms in a jungle-like setting. The Li people, an ethnic minority in China, are indigenous to this area and have a village that still uses the unique boat-shaped hut. They're very much known for body art and some clothing made from poisonous tree bark. Textile craftsmanship and weaving obviously play a large part in the role of their culture. Another ethnic group residing here is the Miao, usually living in log cabins within the mountain ranges, built with floors slightly off the ground. This entire valley is found right off of the Wuji Mountains, known for being full of natural oxygen and home to soft-shell turtles, pythons, and monitor lizards. Some of these villages are also abandoned these days, but still certainly sit. As we swing more into nature, looking north of the city proper in the more mountainous area sits loads of hot springs known as Nantian, being pools of water loaded up with refreshing minerals that give it the title of the best hot spring in China. Best of all, these serve several different functions that range from waterfalls to herbal pools and even pools that are full of fish. Sanya is a pretty popular destination for medical tourism as a whole, namely around traditional Chinese medicine like acupuncture, herbal treatments, and cupping. Lu Hui Tu Park, translating to Deer Turn Park, offers a great bird's eye view of the sea, complete with an observation station, as well as the White Ting Chao Pavilion, which is also derivative of a romantic legend. From the same China Tour Guide source, a tyrant emperor desired a pair of deer horns, so he forced a young hunter named Ahai to hunt for deer. When Ahai was hunting, he saw a beautiful deer chased by a panther. He shot the panther with his arrow and ran after the deer for 9 days and 9 nights until they arrived at the coral cliff of Sanya. The deer found no way to escape. Suddenly, the deer looked back at Ahai and turned into a beautiful girl. Then the hunter and the girl fell in love and got married. In the end, the emperor was defeated and the hill became home for the couple. Oh man, I wish it was that easy for me to get a girl. Hainan as a whole is host to a Buddhist cultural tourism zone, namely the Nanshan Temple, and is actually about 40 kilometers outside of Sanya. It's known for the Guanyin Buddha statue that's even taller than the Statue of Liberty at 108 meters tall. This is actually the result of several failed excursions to Japan, and after 5 attempts, the Tang Dynasty monk named Qian Shen built this temple as a missionary outpost before continuing to Japan. This is the lowest temple in China elevation-wise and is known as the Temple in the Jungle. Now, it seems we've mostly touched on the natural and historical landmarks that move around the city, but the downtown area itself is of course bustling with business districts. The Joy City Mall just opened last year in 2024 with a lot of interactive family activities and of course places to shop. Like this pineapple-shaped one. Guess we know who the architect was for that. Sanya has a lot of residential complexes as well, and surprise surprise, it's a popular spot for people to retire from the mainland. Folks with more money may spend time on the Phoenix Island with these giant luxury units that may be more feasible to simply see how neat it looks at night. Similarly, Sanya has the Beauty Crown Grand Tree Hotel, and again, I'm more enamored by just how this thing looks more than anything. Granted, I'm kinda known for liking my large weird architecture. However, apparently this didn't really live up to the expectations, and a lot of the rooms remain vacant. China being China, Sanya is full of incredible public transit, including a fantastic tram line, which I had to mention because of course I did. And squeezed into the reaches of all of this are a lot of parks, like the Yalong Bay Tropical Forest Park, which gives you a higher up look at the forest and the city. Hikes, rides, and the likes are always available. In fact, you can see the submarine base and naval harbor that are hosted right here off of Sanya as well. And with this, if I keep going, I'm going to end up talking more about the entire province as a whole, which could be a future series, China by province, but for now we're going to cap it there. Thank you for taking a look at this tropical Chinese gem with me. What are your thoughts? Have you been to Sanya, or would you consider visiting? Anybody who lives there like to elaborate? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time.